The first crack in our relationship wasn't a fight. It was a sigh. It happened 2 weeks earlier. I was on the couch finishing some code for work while Chloe scrolled through her phone, her feet draped casually over my lap. She let out a long, weary sigh, the kind that exists solely to invite attention. "What's up?" I asked, eyes still half on my screen. She didn't look at me. "It's just, Jessica's boyfriend surprised her with a weekend in Napa. Helicopter tour, the whole thing." Her thumb flicked aggressively. "And Mike just bought Lauren that Prada bag she wanted." I felt it then. Not jealousy, but exhaustion. "That's nice for them," I said carefully. "We had a great weekend too. That hike was perfect." She finally put her phone down and looked at me. Not angry. Worse. Pitying. "A hike, Alex. We packed sandwiches," she said. "It's just different vibes. Your vibe is very stable, very predictable." I should have said something then, but I'd heard versions of this before. Chloe lived in a world of aesthetics, social currency, and perception. I lived in a world of logic and consistency. I thought we balanced each other. Lately, I'd started to feel like ballast. Necessary, but resented. That night, a text came through. "Change of plans. The group decided on the Airy. Meet us there. Table under Jared's name. Don't be late." The Airy was a rooftop bar in the trendiest part of the city. $20 cocktails, velvet ropes, and ruthless door policy. Chloe loved it. I didn't. I parked a few blocks away and rode the elevator up, already feeling underdressed. The doors opened into bass-heavy chaos. Laughter, glass clinking, curated noise. I scanned for their table. Then I saw the VIP section. Jared was there, bottle service on the table, and Chloe was sitting on his lap. She was laughing, her hand resting on his chest, wearing a black dress I'd never seen before. Cold numbness spread through my chest. I moved toward the rope, but a bouncer stepped in front of me. "That section's reserved." "That's my girlfriend, Chloe, with Jared." He glanced over, then back at me. "You're not on the list." Locked out, literally and figuratively. Chloe looked up then. Our eyes met. I saw surprise, maybe guilt, but it vanished fast. She whispered something to Jared, slid off his lap, and sauntered toward me. "Alex," she said loudly. Not a greeting, an announcement. "What's going on?" I asked calmly. She leaned against the velvet rope like royalty addressing a servant. "Look," she gestured behind her. "This was fun, but it's run its course." "We live together," I said. "That's not a phase." She sighed, the performance sigh. Then she smiled, brittle, contemptuous. "My friends bet me I couldn't do better than you." Laughter rippled behind her. "I'm just proving them wrong." Something inside me snapped. Not loudly, cleanly. I nodded once. "Prove this, too." Her smile faltered. "What?" I slowly took out my phone and opened the camera. Her eyes widened. "Alex, don't you dare!" The flash went off. The photo captured everything. Chloe mid-shock, Jared lounging smugly, her friends frozen in drunken triumph, the VIP rope dividing us perfectly. "Delete that!" she screamed, reaching forward, but the bouncer shifted. I slipped my phone into my pocket and walked away. The elevator doors closed on her shouting. In the silence, clarity arrived. This wasn't heartbreak. This was confirmation. In my car, I opened the photo again. It was devastatingly perfect. I didn't blast it online. That was her game. Instead, I sent it to one person, her father. "Mr. Connolly, I regret to inform you Chloe ended our relationship tonight. I believe you should see the context. I valued your respect. Alex." I attached the photo. No drama, no explanation. Then I went home, packed essentials, transferred my half of the rent, left the key, and blocked her everywhere. By morning, my phone exploded. Her father had frozen her trust fund, credit cards declined, allowance gone. Texts turned to voicemails, panic turned to rage. "You ruined my life." "No," I said calmly when I finally answered once. "You ruined it. This is the consequence." 7 months later, my life was quiet, better, focused. That's when I saw her again. Older, thinner,
desperate. She tried to talk, tried to reconnect. I didn't argue. I just stood up, took my partner's hand, and walked away. No shouting, no revenge. Just peace.
The silence after we walked away wasn't empty. It was full of air, full of motion, full of a future that finally belonged to me. Outside the brewery, the city hummed with late afternoon life. Car doors shut. A dog barked. Somewhere, a bus hissed to a stop. Ordinary sounds, but they landed differently now, like proof that the world kept going, without drama, without performance. Sarah didn't ask questions. She didn't need a post-mortem or a victory lap. She just walked beside me, matching my pace, her hand warm and steady in mine. That was the difference I noticed most. With Chloe, everything had been a stage. With Sarah, everything was real. We drove toward the Italian place we joked about earlier, the small, family-run spot tucked between a laundromat and a closed record store. No velvet ropes, no bottle service, just food that smelled like garlic and patience. When we sat down, the waiter recognized us and smiled. "The usual?" he asked. We nodded. The comfort of being known, of being predictable in the best way, settled in. Halfway through the meal, my phone buzzed once on the table. I didn't look at it. I already knew. There would be no new information there worth the cost of attention. Sarah noticed and raised an eyebrow, not in suspicion, but in quiet confirmation. "You don't have to." I turned the phone face down and didn't think about it again. Later that night, back at the condo, the one with my name alone on the lease, I stood at the window and watched the city lights blink on, one by one. 7 months earlier, I'd stood in a beige hotel room with a duffel bag and a plan. Not a dream, a plan. There's a difference. Dreams float. Plans move. I'd learned that the hard way. The next few weeks unfolded without fireworks. That was the miracle. I finalized the lease termination with clean emails and clean timelines. I closed the shared account. I redirected my energy where it belonged. Work deepened. Mornings became quieter. Nights became longer in the best sense. Time to read, to cook, to think. Chloe tried once more. Not directly, never directly. A mutual acquaintance mentioned she'd asked about me, wondered if I was open to talking, framed as concern. I declined through the same channel, polite and final. No explanations. Explanations are invitations. I stopped sending those. The last I heard, really heard, came months later, filtered through distance and indifference. She'd moved back home temporarily, started working part-time at one of her father's warehouses. Not glamorous, real. Maybe it would change her, maybe it wouldn't. That was no longer my problem to solve. What mattered was what changed in me. I stopped mistaking peace for boredom. I stopped believing that love needed an audience to be valid. I stopped thinking stability was something to apologize for. The qualities I'd been shamed for, reliability, consistency, restraint, turned out to be assets, compounding assets, quiet ones. Sarah and I didn't rush anything. We built slowly, brick by brick, with conversations instead of captions. We disagreed sometimes. We handled it without spectators. We learned each other's rhythms. Mine were early mornings and long walks. Hers were late nights and sketchbooks spread across the coffee table. We fit because neither of us needed the other to perform. One evening, months after the brewery, we hosted a small dinner. 6 people. No phones at the table, food we'd cooked ourselves. At one point, Sarah caught my eye from across the room and smiled. Not the practiced smile for photos, but the soft one she wore when she felt safe. I realized then that safety wasn't the absence of risk, it was the presence of trust. That was the final lesson. The rooftop had been a quest I didn't know I was taking, not of loyalty or love, but of self-respect. When the moment came, I didn't shout, I didn't plead, I didn't try to win. I chose clarity, I chose distance, I chose to leave with my dignity intact. People mistake restraint for weakness. They're wrong. Restraint is power you don't waste. On a quiet Sunday morning, I woke early and made coffee while the city slept.
Sarah was still curled up in bed, hair everywhere, breathing slow and even. I sat at the table with my mug and opened my notebook, the old habit I'd returned to, and wrote a single sentence at the top of a fresh page. Peace is the prize. Not revenge, not validation. Peace. Later that day, we walked through a park lined with turning leaves. Kids played, couples argued softly about nothing important, an old man fed birds from his palm. Life, unfiltered and unsponsored. Sarah slipped her hand into mine, and I felt the certainty settle. Not the dramatic kind, not the cinematic kind, the quiet kind that stays. If there's a moral here, it isn't about karma or comeuppance. It's simpler and harder than that. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. When they ask you to shrink so they can shine, decline. When the door closes, don't rattle the handle. Turn around and build something better. I never went back to that rooftop bar. I didn't need to. The view from where I stood now was clearer, steadier, and earned. And somewhere in the city, the music kept playing, just not for me anymore. I had my own rhythm now, and for the first time, it was enough.